Hi everyone, it's Tim Topham here from topmusic.co, and I'm delighted to have Paul and Gillian from Piano Teaching Success here at Piano Pivot Live 2020 in order to record some fantastic interviews with our speakers and give you a bit of a backstage pass. And if you really want to immerse yourself in what Piano Pivot is really like, and if you enjoy this interview, then make sure you grab one of our virtual tickets. The virtual tickets are fully edited professional recordings of our speakers actually on stage doing their thing, live teaching, keynote workshops. And if you want to grab that, head to pianopivotlive.com/virtual. I'll see you there.
Hi, and here we are at Piano Pivot Live, and it's lunchtime. I don't know whether you can hear this.
Lunchtime crazy.
Yeah, and I'm here with Andrew Raiskums from AMEB, and Andrew was the architect for the new AMEB theory publications. And really, you've been head of theory for...
about 10 years now.
Yeah.
Look, I guess my official title is theory specialist, and that, I think, reflects what I do there. So for the 10 years I've been at the AMEB, it's been preparing the exams, developing the online content, anything theory related, and you know.
So this is the guy that writes the exams.
Yeah, right. Don't send me hate mail. Don't send me hate mail.
But I think that's actually put you in a perfect position to actually write these books, because the terminology in them. Would you like to speak about that?
Yeah. Well, look. When I came to the federal office of the AMEB, I'd been teaching for 20 odd years. I started off teaching piano, but more and more I was teaching theory, and I love it, you know. And you'd always get those students who'd resist you, and then boom, that everything would click, and they would.
So why did you start teaching theory?
I think it just happened. I think it just happened. It was one of those things where, you think that you're going to go in one direction, but you end up going in another direction. Yeah. And that's sort of what happened. So by the end of sort of my 20 years of teaching or so, I was teaching mostly theory, in fact.
I think I was speaking to you earlier, and I think you said along there you started teaching them piano, and then you found that they're reading and whatever. So could you speak about that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would often get kids who'd done Suzuki, for example, who'd come to me because they'd reached the end of the line with Suzuki. They couldn't go any further because it was just beyond their rote learning ability. So then it was all about teaching them how to read the notes, changing their repertoire, all that sort of thing, and just bringing them into music as a written language rather than just as an oral language. And that was exciting. That was one of the exciting paths that I took as a teacher.
And I think the other thing you really have a real passion for is creativity.
Absolutely. And so, just coming around to these books, it's quite straightforward, with kids to get them to rote learn things like scales and keys and triads, etc., etc., etc. But once you get to the creative stuff in grade 2 and in grade 3 theory, a lot of students hit a block. They don't necessarily understand the concepts. They don't understand, what's a good melody, what's a bad melody, this sort of thing. So I just remember from my teaching experience that a way to get students involved in this is to throw it back onto them, to ask them questions. What did you think about that bit? And is that good? What are your thoughts about this? What do you think about the melody overall? What do you think about the rhythms that we've chosen? Just putting it back onto the students, helping them to develop musical instincts, and so a lot of that experience has found its way into these books.
I think sometimes as teachers it's a bit like when you're a parent, and it's that sort of stressfulness that when your child, you just want them to get it right.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And so staying in the Anita Collins calls it being comfortable with discomfort.
Oh yeah.
And
amazing.
As a teacher, being
absolutely.
able to stay in that and ask those questions and just wait for them to answer.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's actually about trying to bring out the musical instincts from the student.
Yes.
And a lot of that is about monitoring your own stresses and anxieties as a teacher. And teaching theory, it was actually one of the best things for me to just sit down and get students to critique their work as they go. So therefore I was always asking my students to sing their work or to play their work. I'd get them tapping on the table or clapping their hands, all these sorts of things where theory often has this reputation as being intellectual, one of those
Yes.
things, oh, I don't want to do theory.
And almost taught like we play, we do theory, and a separate
Yeah,
subject, and
exactly.
without the links being created.
It's holistic, and as I was just saying to some of the teachers here before, really there's nothing that should stop you from teaching theory to students from the beginning. If you feel that it's going to open up their musical world, go for it.
And there's all sorts of theory books to start with too, isn't there?
Absolutely. Yeah. There are a lot of resources out there, and of course I used them as I was teaching. You always sort of, again, you let the student sort of guide you as to what you're going to choose to give them. But when I was putting these books together, I mean, obviously I used Dulcie Holland, I used the Blitz books, I used Gordon Spirit, I used other ones. Tim was talking about Eileen Steinkamp. I can even remember her books as well. And Lovelock as well.
Yes.
The melody writing and all that sort of the two-part writing, all those books. I used all those. But I just thought, look, let's just distill everything that I've learned as a teacher into these books.
Yes.
Use a very sort of neutral, conversational style of language, and just develop things in lines. That's
And they're
what I've
very
done.
nicely spread out. I think they don't look hard.
You don't want to overwhelm students with information, and I find some theory books have just the pages are just overloaded with things, and I just thought let's just do this in a relaxed sort of style, and where the concepts become more difficult, let's just break these down into little tiny components, so that students who might want to be teaching themselves at home, they could actually do it themselves.
Yes.
I'm going to get this far and then I'm going to stop.
Yes.
I'm going to try and absorb all of this stuff and then I'll move forward.
So as you can see, teaching a new concept like a chord, very, very nicely set out, lots of white,
There are each lesson has a set of questions attached to it that revise everything in the lesson and from previous lessons as well. And all of these questions align very closely to our theory exams, both online and written exams.
That's an important point, I think, because so many times students do know something, but when asked in an exam in a particular way with a different languaging, they go, I don't know that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, these books also have an example of one of our exams. We've put in an actual AMEB exam at the end of every single book.
Yes, but also you're using the same language when you're asking the questions throughout the book, so they're getting
There's a
used to it,
consistency
aren't they?
there. And we very consciously use that. The questions lead into the exams.
Yes, which is nice. And how are these books to use as perhaps a companion to the online course that you've got?
That's an interesting question, because as we were developing our online exams, we thought, let's try and develop an online resource to support the online exams. And so I was asked to write the online courses, so I did. And then further on down the track, we thought, let's actually develop these into theory books, with questions in the books, so different questions to the ones that accompany the online courses. They're just something different. I talked before about music as a written art form.
Yes.
Often kids these days, students, composers, teachers, everything, we're just taught to sort of learn music online.
Well, even I think, was it you that said about handwriting?
Yeah.
What is happening to our handwriting a little bit? And
What's happening to our handwriting? Yeah, because we're on computer keyboards all day long. So, to me also, these books are all about music as a written art form, and so the very first chapter in grade 1, you're going to be drawing treble clefs, because I think that's important. I think it's actually really important to draw treble clefs, to draw bass clefs, just to, I remember being given really strict instructions by my teachers, draw that vertical line, make sure that everything is, not protruding too much, and etc. So I think that's important.
I think it is important too, and there's some times when writing, actually, like when composing and being creative and everything at the piano, isn't about sitting in front of a keyboard with all the tech on. It's actually writing out, notating it out, because it allows those more organic processes to take form.
Exactly, and it's all about you. It's all about your style, and it's how you play, it's how you sing, whatever. But how you write, it's also part of your own musical style.
Yes. And so what about, we've got 1 and we've got booked grade 2, we've got
3.
grade 3 where you've gotten getting really creative. What about grade 4?
Grade 4 is coming. We're hoping to have it ready by July this year. In the federal office, we have a number of big projects this year, including a whole new violin syllabus. Obviously, that is a lot of work and involves quite a few people, but we've planned to have Grade 4 ready by July, and then 5 and 6 following.
The following year?
Yeah, well, yeah. We don't know exactly, but
Yeah.
the plan is to do the all
series.
6 grades.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because grade 3 is a bit of a step up. Each one has its own step up, I
Yes,
guess. But
yeah.
grade 4 with the harmony.
Right,
that's
exactly.
where-
It's a big step. Well, grade 2 to grade 3 is a big step,
Yeah, with
but grade 3 to
cadence
grade
and
4 is even bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then grade 5 is again. But I think
Yeah.
it's grade 3 to grade 4 is the big step.
It is the big step because, I mean, look, when you're in grade 3, when you're sort of writing rhythms, writing melodies, that's a big thing.
Yes.
But it's all linear.
Yes.
But, you know, when you're thinking in 4 parts, and you've got to start thinking about chords as being vertical structures as well as horizontal structures, that's big. And actually, I'm really looking forward to writing this material to just help, you know, just run through my own way of teaching this stuff. Yeah.
That's great. Well, I'm looking forward to grade 4.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
And thank you for talking to us
My
today.
pleasure.
Thanks
Great
a
to
lot.
be here.